4-day games, but with 7 going this evening here on Thursday, June 13th, we're here with you live on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel. And how are we betting this evening's slate? Well, that's what you're here to find out. Of course, Dan Alexander holding it down and joining me to talk some evening baseball here. I got the man waking up at 3 a.m. You asked for him. You got him. Tokyo Brandon in the house, rocking the look that has shaped the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel. And Trig, I noticed that your fedora and glasses is absent here today. We will excuse you as long as you bring us some winners here. Excited to chat with these guys. Typically, you get them on an early edition, but with some evening games, we get to talk with them here on some Red Sox and Phillies action, Cubs, Rays, Marlins, Mets, D-backs, and Angels. And if you want us to touch upon any of the either 3 games going on this evening, we'll do that for you as well. Shout out to the chat while you're joining us. Hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed and get ready to check these guys out over at WagerTalk.com. But boys, let's get into it. And TB, I don't know if you're pandering or not, but the first game you want to talk about out the gate, my Philadelphia Phillies. So we're always going to welcome you back live if you want to talk Phillies right out of the gate. Red Sox are taking them on. I get to pat myself on the back. Got the nice winner yesterday with Bryson Stott. Total bases over at some nice plus money. So pat myself there. Congrats. Hopefully anyone rode with us. But it was all thanks to that double. But let's look forward here to tonight, TB. Nola versus Houck in the rubber match here. So, I mean, on paper, this should be a pitcher's duel, right? Is that how you see it shaking out? How are you looking to bet this game?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to like me too much after my analysis, but yeah, before the season, I thought the Red Sox were going to be one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball, but I like to do my capping more over on how teams are performing recently. And yeah, I would say it's a pitcher's duel. We have 2 of the top pitchers in Major League Baseball, but in the last 30 days or in the last 4 starts, shall I say, I have Tanner Houck as the number 1 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. So even better than Wheeler. I have Wheeler up there as well, but Tanner Houck has been amazing. But I do have these pitchers pretty much neck and neck right now, and I have the bullpens pretty much neck and neck as well. Where the difference that I see this game at is the batting, and considering having one of the best records in all of Major League Baseball, if not the best record right now, the Phillies are not really batting that well. I have them batting right around 17 out of 30 teams in the last 30 days. And I have the Red Sox batting number 9 in Major League Baseball. So I think it's a good time to take a flyer on the underdog here. They're not much of an underdog. I think it was right around minus 105 for the Red Sox. And I think the Phillies were minus 120 or minus 115, something, depending on where you shop your numbers. But I think with all things put together, taking the Red Sox at either plus 1.5 or even straight up on the money line is a good value play here, because just starting pitching, I mean, Tanner Houck has just been amazing, and Boston's really crushing the ball a lot better than the Phillies right now. So I like Boston in this one. Not a huge confidence play, because anytime you're betting against the best team in MLB with one of their best pitchers on the mound, it's always a tightrope to walk. But I do think Boston has the advantage today.
Yeah, one thing that I will say, though, that maybe could be the fly in the ointment, so to speak, is the fact that you're going to be looking at some potential winds blowing out here in a ballpark that, for whatever reason, has been hitter-friendly this season. So that does worry me a little bit if you just go by names alone, because I got a lot of folks, maybe talking about unders in this game, eyeing some unders. We're looking at a total right around 8. I don't know. It seems like it's too easy to just slam the under with the pitcher names alone. You know what I mean, TB?
Yeah, but it's not just the pitcher names, but both of these bullpens have been performing really good.
And you got the AL East leader in ERA in Houck heading out there as well.
Yeah, like I said, I have Houck ranked number 1 in all of MLB out of all the starters. But Bullpens also, these are 2 top 10 bullpens. They both rank in the top 10. I have Philadelphia ranked 10 and I have Boston ranked 9. So it's going to be hard to produce some runs. I don't, I don't put too much credence into the wind, but it should be right around 8. I'm not good at totals, so I don't do them.
Trig, don't worry. I haven't forgot about you. I know you're waiting in the wings as well. We'll talk Marlins and Mets, but I think, the fact that we got the rubber match going here, it's an intriguing matchup indeed. Do you have any just thoughts to maybe put a pin on here with the Red Sox and Phils before we get to the game that you want to chat, talking Marlins and Mets here?
I had like the mind to maybe look to play against the Phillies in this series, and I guess this will be our segue, right? Like they're coming back from London. I thought that might be like a reason that they would falter here a little bit, but I couldn't really find my way into this series. Like I still find myself like I have the Phillies rated like much higher than the Red Sox at this point, so it was difficult for me to find a spot to play against them. Actually, I've kind of been leaning more their way in this series as a whole, just from a matchup standpoint. So this one seemed to be nailed across the board from like a pricing standpoint, and really felt like I was flipping a coin. So I kind of quickly moved past it. Didn't have much here.
Yeah, and you mentioned it is kind of a natural segue, because if there was a team that was kind of affected by that travel, or I guess you could just say it was the Mets being the Mets once they got back onto U.S. soil, it was a tough game out of the gate there against Miami. But shuffling the lineup paid off for the Mets, because I think it was 10 runs they got across last night. And it was the first time since the end of last month that they've been able to put up double-digit runs. So I'm wondering for you, Trig, is that shuffle enough to make you think, oh, they maybe found something out, or is that a one-game sample on seeing that explosion from the Mets? How are you looking to bet this game this evening?
I'll tell you what, Dan, it might be enough to scare me off the Marlins, because I do want to make a case for the Marlins here.
Okay.
That's the way I was kind of looking. On Friday, I had a best bet on the Marlins, which won against the Guardians. And before that game, I said, this is kind of the spot where I think I'm going to start taking a stand with the Marlins. They had called a couple guys up, Xavier Edwards, Tristan Gray. Like they got a couple of their younger guys up, and they do have other guys at Jacksonville right now that will probably be up soon. Jonah Bride, Mesa. Like they've got some good players down there. And so I thought, okay, the Marlins could not have started any worse. They're going to blow it up a little bit, and they're going to be ranked like at the very bottom of the league. So how can I start to like figure out a way to jump in with them is what I've been looking at really since Friday. But what you said is the reason that this might not make my card tonight, and that's the fact that the Mets are starting to hit 6.2 runs per game, Dan. They lead the National League, in the last like week and a half. I believe that's their last 10 games. And the lineup shuffle is relevant because Francisco Lindor is raking out of the leadoff spot. He's hit over 300 out of the leadoff spot this year. And so, like, there's something to that, right? Like, they've mixed it up. And sometimes you just need to shuffle things up. It's part of the reason that I'm trying to make a case for the Marlins, right? Like, they're getting some of their younger guys up and in the lineup, and I thought that would do well. Maybe the same thing is happening with the Mets, where they just needed to mix it up a little bit. Now, another reason I'm scared, another thing that's scaring me off here a little bit is Luis Severino, because the guy just has my number. Every time I try to play against Severino, he fires a 7-inning gem. Like, it's like clockwork. But he just had his gem last time out, right? 8 innings, 1 run against the Nats. And that's the thing with Severino. I mean, he doesn't always string them together. He'll he's been pretty good, like, across the board. His numbers, I think, are solid, but he typically doesn't. I'm going off memory here, but just piggyback like 8-inning 1-run gem with another just like wipeout start. And you want to talk about how the travel might affect someone. I mean, pitchers are such creatures of habit, and going from one start to another and their normal routine. He's now had 7 days since that last start. And in that 7-day stretch, he had to go on a quick little business trip to London and come back. Like, I can't see how that really helps him, especially like a veteran guy that's probably used to doing things a certain way. So I'm not sure how to quantify that, but I don't see how that helps someone that just fired an 8-inning gem last week. Like that can't be something that would be a mark against him, not for him. Now, Roddery Munoz is so erratic. Like, he'll look great for 3 innings, and his stuff will look nasty, and then he'll give up 4 runs. I have hit 14 of my last 16 baseball plays, Dan. I'm on a great run. One of those losses was Saturday night when I tried to come back with the Marlins and come back with Roddery Munoz, and he was pretty good for 3 innings, got into trouble. Believe the Guardians put up a 6 spot in the 4th, and that was all she wrote. So, you're kind of taking a chance, I feel like, backing him here, but, he's shown flashes. Like, his major league debut against the Cubs, I think he got to the 5th inning and he was lights out, and then gave up a couple runs, but still a pretty well-pitched game. And a couple weeks ago, I can't remember if it was against the Dodgers or there was another start at the big league level where he was really good. He went back down to AAA, shut out Nashville. So he has his moments, but he's got to avoid the bad inning. But if you get him and his good stuff, you could definitely be in this game if you're the Marlins. And so I guess what I'm asking myself here, Dan, is how much is that plus 1.5 worth to me, right? Because as you guys know, to get plus 1.5 with the road team at this price, minus 120, whatever it may be, like, close to even money, usually you got to give something up somewhere. And so, I like the Marlins enough as a team that I think I'm willing to kind of roll the dice with Munoz here. And maybe, who knows, maybe we get a Severino that's not super sharp because his stuff was thrown off a little bit by having to go to London, a couple extra days rest. So the way I'm leaning here, I have not bet this yet, but I do think Marlins plus 1.5 has some value. Again, this is bigger than just this game for me. I think the Marlins from now until the All-Star break are going to show some life. I think they're going to probably be a profitable bet, meaning like so far in this series, they've made you money so far because they were plus money, won on Tuesday, and then were plus money again and lost last night. So I do think the Marlins are going to be a profitable team from now until the All-Star break, maybe even beyond. So that's kind of the way I'm looking here. Marlins plus 1.5. Not sure it'll make my client card, but I am looking to buy on the Marlins from now till the break.
So as he's talking there, TB, it doesn't it seem like, and I know you don't do totals as much. This one's sitting at 8.5, but this one almost feels like you ISO in and figure out what the Mets are going to do at the plate. You might not do totals, but you handicap pitchers better than anybody out there. You're pretty damn good with hitter props as well. But the thing for me is with the Mets, it's as simple as do they score over 5 runs, right? Because if the Mets score over 5 runs, they've done it 7 times in their last 10 in those games. They're 6-4. So if we could ISO in and just handicap that side, how they're going to do against Miami pitching, I think maybe that's the starting point for how you get a read on this game. Any thoughts on that?
A team total would not be a bad play here. I have the Mets batting 11th in all of Major League Baseball in the last month. Miami's bullpen's actually performing very mediocre, which is a compliment because generally Miami is just a horrible team. But pitcher wise, both starting pitchers, I have them ranked in bottom 10 on a curved 30. So yeah, I mean, should see runs here. Miami is batting towards the bottom of the league though. I give the Mets a small advantage here, but I'm not backing that team at all under any circumstance. I can't stand the Mets.
and especially not at 2 bills. But I shot at Miami, Tokyo Brandon. You look like a Casanova walking down the Miami Strip, man. Like, come on, you can't be knocking your home side Marlins with the fit you're rocking, dude. Come on, man. You know better than that.
Miami Marlins,
it was impressive though. It was impressive dragging the Marlins and the Mets in the same breakdown. But Trig, give us the closing thoughts on that one.
Well, yeah, I kind of basically what Tokyo Brandon said. Like, I give the Mets a small advantage as well. Is it a $2 advantage?
Not a $2 advantage. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Is it a lay, a 1.5 at home? No. Like, so that puts me on the Marlins. Am I going to get to the window with it for a client play? I'm not sure. That's why we're talking. That's why I guess we can talk about it right now. But I don't know. I as lineups come out, I may add this one late. If I do, anytime I add one that's on the show, if I actually give this to clients, I'll tweet it out. So make sure you're following me on Twitter at TopFlightSI. and I will make sure to let you know. But I can let you know that, like, this is, on a day where I have yet to bet a Major League Baseball play, this is one of the ones that's up there for me, would be the Marlins plus the 1.5.
Man, I like Lord Farquaad there looking towards that over Alonso home run. I typically would sprinkle in maybe total hits going over as opposed to trying to call your shot on the home run. The plus money maybe a little bit lower, but hey, I don't hate the breakdown. Speaking of the chat, shout out to the chat joining us here. We appreciate you. We got Boss 429 blowing off some work. Don't worry. Secret's safe with us. We will not tell HR. Titan CT, Eric D, Lord Farquaad in the house, and Jimmy Jam chiming in saying Tokyo Brandon looks like he's in Miami selling. He's showing a snowflake emoji. Selling snow. I think that would melt in Miami because that's definitely what you're talking about. Selling snow in Miami, probably going to melt. Look at that with the Dr. Evil finger as well.
Hey, let me say something real quick. Can I say
think the
something
snow is
home run?
I don't think he means actual snow, but that's just,
Oh,
probably
I don't know.
Thank you. I hear you. Let me say something quick about home run props.
Go ahead, TB.
Because, mathematically speaking, everyone likes to bet home run props, but the best batters in MLB, the best batters in MLB hit a home run once about every 17 at bats. So if you do the math, 1 in 4 games, you should be getting at least plus 400 for the best batters in MLB. So anything less than 400 is just a sucker bet, unless you're going to have a beer with your friends and enjoy a home run prop. But don't bet home run props unless you get 400 or 500.
That's the exact point that you make, TB. Is it's like if you are truly, doing this, being really rigid with managing your bankroll and everything, betting props like that are going to be bankroll killers. But if your bankroll allows for it, you want a little pizza money, you're out with your buddies, you're all BSing around. Like, who do you think is going to hit a home run? Who do you, throw some bucks on it, or just bet your friend straight up no vig. Be like, hey, my boy's going to bet it. I'll bet you 10-1 or whatever. That's my suggestion. Talk to some folks and talk them into giving you a bad advantageous bet with your buddies at the bar. That's the way to really hit those home run props,
And that's the difference. But that's the difference between doing this for entertainment or doing this for a living. So
yeah. And I think, there's a way to marry those two things as well for, the recreational bettors who are hopping here in the chat. But the biggest thing is that discipline, is that bankroll management. Yes, you can still have fun. Yes, you can still have your long shots, but make it make sense for your bankroll. Make sure, you're not having that overextend yourself. That would be my suggestion for sure. But hop below in the comments. Let us know what you're looking to bet tonight, what your favorite plays are. We'd love to hear from you there. We have DT, who always loves hopping in. Daryl Turner, we appreciate you. He is looking for some thoughts as he's trying to craft a parlay. He's talking about some plus EV wagers. He's talking about throwing Minnesota in there. Talk about 2 Bills and more. Whew, that's a line that they're laying against Oakland. They're opening up the 4-game set. Trig, anything stand out to you in this one? Because I see that price on the Twins. I don't care if it's about the A's or against the A's, a team who's just 4-6 in their last 10 going up against 2-8. This is a big time stinker for me. Even with Joe Ryan on the mound, you can't talk me into laying near 250 on Minnesota. So this one was a cross off for me. I get looking at that big price and saying, hey, parlay piece, that would be maybe a potential blower for me in the opening game of a 4-game set. Medina on the other side. What do you think?
I mean, the A's are so horrifically bad at this point. Like,
they are.
And I would throw this. I actually have no issues with this in a parlay. And I'm going to give out I'm going to give out a pretty juiced. My best bet's going to have some juice. So if you need something to parlay into it, I don't hate using the Twins. First of all, the Twins have absolutely hammered the bad teams. I think we talked about this when we were doing the Twins Rockies breakdowns earlier in the week. They have just pounded the bottom of the league. So remember that, right? Because when the Twins go up against the good teams, you're going to want to know that as a reason to fade them. The bad teams in the league, the very bottom teams, the teams with losing records, the Twins have owned this year. Those would be like the White Sox, the Rocky series just now, teams like the A's. Like, the Twins have done extremely well against those types of teams. And the A's, when I said they're as bad as it gets, last month or so, they're far and away the worst team in the league. Like, they're 9-27 in their last 36 games, 2-15 in their last 17 road games, and they're averaging like 3 runs per game, which is last in the league. I think the only team that's even like rivaling that is the White Sox right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't touch the A's here. Like, even against the +1.5, I have no interest in the A's in this game. Ryan should eviscerate this lineup. Like, he should absolutely dominate this lineup tonight, because they only hit the ball out of the ballpark, and he's tough to hit out. Like, he's not an easy guy to take deep. So I have nothing. That's it. Twins and the A's just you find a way to play against them.
Yeah, TB, I want to get your thoughts, because I think Trig touched upon it. It's not like I want to bet the A's here, but at this price, do I want to bet the Twins here? Like, what do you think, TB?
Absolutely not. And here's a little bit of betting advice for people as well. A way to bet big favorites like this, as Adam said, one way is to tie them into a parlay, but another way is to bet the opposing pitcher to record a win. Because to record a win, he has to go 5 innings, he has to be winning when he comes out of the game, and the bullpen has to hold. So if the opposing, if your big favorite team has a pitcher who generally goes 5 innings and has a decent bullpen, you can usually get plus money for the starting pitcher to get a win. So I checked Joe Ryan to get a win is plus 110. So that would be a decent way to get some value on betting a huge favorite like that.
Yeah, that's something that I've definitely dabbled in as well. And you and I have talked about when we have had the few live shows that we've done together is putting that as a part of just your portfolio is when it makes sense. And you think the pitcher is going to go deep. Like, that's the key, is you look at the bullpen numbers as well. Think of when you think a guy's going to be going deep. As long as he gets that 5, he leaves with the lead. Bullpen could be behind him. That's what makes the difference. Speaking of which, though, Trig, I'm hearing you talking, and TB, I know that you do a lot of these outs recorded. It's kind of over that 17.5 that I like, but at plus 130, Trig, if we really think Joe Ryan's just going to pick him up, put him down, mow through this lineup, 18.5, but it's plus 130 for his over outs recorded. So how deep really do we think Joe Ryan goes is the question, Trig.
So to play off what Brandon was just saying, he's gone at least 5 innings in every single start this year. Joe Ryan has not had an outing shorter than 5 innings. 3 of his 15. Last 4. So 3 of his last 4 starts, he's thrown 7. The majority of his starts this year, he's thrown 6. And the one start that wasn't a 7-inning like masterclass from him recently, because if you look, like, he completely shut out the Nats for 7. He was really good against the Royals. It was the game in Houston, and that Astros lineup still kind of underrated. Like, they're still not an easy lineup to just mow down. So I kind of agree with Brandon. Like, he's probably gonna, if the Twins win here, you'd have to think he's the pitcher of record, because he's probably pitching into the 6th or 7th, and the Astros don't play well from behind. So it's like, typically the way the Astros win games, or I'm sorry, I keep saying the Astros, the A's. Yeah, the way the A's win games.
The A throws you off. It's,
the way the A's win games typically is to get the lead and then hope that their good bullpen guys are available and get the ball to Mason Miller. That was the formula yesterday, except Miller, they gave up the lead, and then Miller gave up the home run. Very uncharacteristic. But you also have to know that they used a couple of those guys yesterday. So what are the odds that they get deep into this game with the lead, right? Like, probably worse than what they're giving you on. You're probably getting better odds on Ryan to win than you should. So I kind of agree with TB. That's probably the best way from a numbers perspective to play this.
Yep.
Look at that, boys. I queue up the game talking about how I cross it off my card. I leave it putting Joe Ryan to record a win in my bet slip. That's what First Pitch is all about. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that bell as well, so you're notified every time that we go live here. We appreciate you hanging out with us. And if you're joining us on X or you're joining us on Instagram, you probably already have followed us. But if we're on your For You page, make sure you hit us with that follow. We would appreciate it. Gentlemen, let's talk some best bets here. And if anybody else has some games that we haven't touched upon that you want to hear about, definitely let us know. Mahaffey over on the YouTube Shorts feed, liking Ryan's over strikeout total too. That was sitting at 7.5. A's second worst strikeouts per game in MLB. Appreciate that shout out, Mahaffey. So we're all about Joe Ryan here tonight. So you know what'll happen? He'll probably go an inning, then he's going to tweak something, and then we're all going to be like, God damn it. But, hey, as on paper, this Joe Ryan stuff making a hell of a lot of sense. But yeah, we'll talk some best bets here. If you have any other games that we didn't touch upon yet, we'll hit them before we rock out here. But Tokyo Brandon, I love that we got two of the hottest baseball cappers on here for a Thursday edition of the show. I'm wondering how you're looking to bet this Cubs and Rays game, because the Bellinger bomb aside, man, the road trip has not been kind here for the Cubs. It's 2-4. Now following last night's win. So a series win here today would go a big way of kind of salvaging a little bit here for the Cubbies. Do you think they get it done? And let the folks know what you have up over at WagerTalk.com.
I like the Lord Farquhar Shrek reference. That's a really cool name.
Strong. I mention it every show.
Going strong. I should change mine to Don Johnson or something like that from Miami Vice.
That would be good.
Yeah. I kind of prefer Scarface, but it's still Miami, right? So,
all that
so
snow.
We got the Cubs. We got, blow or snow, I don't know. But so we got the Cubs going against Miami here, or against the Tampa Bay Rays, which might as well be Miami. Actually, Miami's probably playing better than the Rays right now. So, taking a look at this game. This is actually the play I have for sale today, but I've been losing the last 3 days, so I'm just going to give my play out for free. So if you're watching this show, don't buy my play. I'm going to give it to you right now. I'm a big Justin Steele fan. And coming into this season, he got a late start. And as most pitchers do when they get late starts and miss spring training, they stumble out of the blocks. And he certainly did. He gave up some 6 burgers and he was just horrible. But if you look at his last 3 starts, he's gone 7 or more innings in 2 of those 3 starts. And aside from getting bombed by the Reds, he's given up very few runs. I love Justin Steele, actually. I'm a big fan of his. And I think he's going to dominate today. I think he's righted the ship here. And he's going against a pitcher who doesn't belong in Major League Baseball. Bradley's just awful. He's not a Major League Baseball pitcher. I'll just say it. The Cubs bullpen worries me a little bit because I have them ranked 24 out of 30 in the last week. So, but given the fact that Justin Steele's been going into the 7th inning in most of his games, I don't think we'll have to rely too much on the bullpen here. And the Cubs should be able to tag Bradley. Bradley's just an awful pitcher. He's like a AA pitcher. He shouldn't be in Major League Baseball. So, given the batting, I have the Rays batting 24th out of 30. I have the Cubs batting 15th. So I think the Cubs should build a lead here. I like Justin Steele. So I'm backing the Cubs here, and it was only minus 108. Good number and good time to back the Cubs here, I think. They're 2-3 in their last 5. The Rays are 1-4 in their last 5. All that aside, it's one good pitcher against one bad pitcher, and the good pitcher's backed by the better lineup. Simply put, don't overthink it. Take the Cubs today.
Tokyo, I'm going to ask you, show me on the doll here where Taj Bradley hurt you, because I'm wondering. There was a lot of Taj Bradley slander throughout there, but I mean, you look at the numbers. It's hard to disagree. I mean, if Steele can leave it with the lead here tonight, for as much as you're excited about his prospects, maybe moving forward, it'll be the first time he picks up a win on the series here. So, or not on the series, on the year for Justin Steele. So that's definitely something to be eyeing there. But
I haven't looked.
Go ahead.
But I haven't looked, but Justin Steele to record a win is probably somewhere in the 130 to 150 plus range. So yeah, that would be a decent bet to put some pizza money on. I haven't bet it though.
Yeah. If that's definitely the way you think the game will shake out, that could be a nice plus money price. I'll see if I can grab that here for you, just so we know exactly what that price is going to be. How about Justin Steele plus 155 over on the Green Book to record a win? Woo. That's not bad money there. If you agree with our man, Tokyo Brandon, Does he get the first win of the year? Hop below in the comments and let us know. If he does, you're cashing a plus 155 ticket alongside our man TB. But the official play here for you is going with the Cubbies on the money line. Best bet there for Tokyo Brandon, giving you a free client play. Those client plays have been gold. Speaking of client plays that have been gold, Trig, I mean, finally, we're feeling good about the way we're breaking things down here in baseball. You trusted the process, you saw it through, and you have just been rolling here on the bases. The game you want to talk about here is the D-backs and the Angels, but I think we would be remiss in doing the viewers a disservice if you didn't talk about this run that you've been on and how you've been seeing it for clients as well. So best bet, but what can the clients grab over at WagerTalk as well?
Yeah, it's been great. The last couple of weeks have been really good. Last night, 2-0 MLB. My 5% play with the Reds got there. I had a 4% play with the Brewers that, as hard as they tried to blow that game, they didn't. So that got there. Now I'm 14-2 in my last 16 baseball plays, which include KBO as well. And you can thank our great bosses here at WagerTalk, because the next play I have up, is KBO, and it's Friday morning. And because it's Friday, they let me put it up for $5 because Friday, tomorrow, is Customer Appreciation Day. All our plays on Friday are going to be $5. But mine, since it goes so early, they let me put it up for $5 today. So 4% KBO play for the morning. It's already locked in, and it's just $5 on my page. I have not bet any Major League Baseball yet for today. I'm going to talk about the game that I like the most, and the reason that it's not a client play. I talked about the Marlins, a game that I may we still have some time. It's only 2:30 on the East Coast, so we might throw one up. I haven't really decided yet. I want to see some lineups come out. But the game I think I like the most, and the reason I kind of teased this when we talked about the Twins, is the Diamondbacks. And of course, they're now taking some money. They're all the way up to minus 185, minus 190 some places. So either you're going to have to play it smaller, or you're just going to have to find something to play into it, which, being one of the last games on the board, you might be able to. But the general thing I'm looking at here is just this D-backs team's coming. Like, they're going to be, in a month or two from now, I think they're going to be like in the mix as a contender in the NL. And you're going to be saying, man, I wish I was betting them the last couple months, because I can't really fathom how this team is 4 games under 500 at this point. And another reason I think that they could be better in a month than they are now is they are so loaded with offense at the AAA level that guys that are having slow starts, that have been allowed to kind of figure out things like Eugenio Suarez, and there's a couple others that have been allowed to figure it out April into May. If they don't start producing, they're going to be out of there, because they've got Jordan Lawler just came back off the IL. He's down at Reno. There's 3 prospects, Del Castillo, Chaparro, and Davison De Los Santos, all raking. Like, that's going to create some competition for spots and playing time. And I think you're going to see this team very locked in. I think we're already seeing it. They've now won 7 of their last 11 games. And I think you're going to start to see the production across the board offensively for Arizona start to pick up, which, again, we've seen, because across those last 11 games, they've averaged 5.4 runs per game. It's as right up there with the top teams in Major League Baseball, the last 2 weeks or so. Corbin Carroll's another guy. Couldn't have started off worse this year. And that goes back to the end of last year when he kind of, dipped in production after his insane start to his rookie year. He's heating up. He had a big, he's had a big series so far. Ketel Marte is, the guy's hitting like 500 the last couple weeks. I think he's like criminally underrated as a player. I think he belongs in the bet. When you talk about like the best talent in Major League Baseball right now, his name belongs in there, and it never is. So I just think that this is a very underrated team across the board, and one I'm going to look to back, at times, going forward. On the other side, the Angels are bad. Like, the Angels belong in that conversation with the White Sox, the A's, the Rockies, and sometimes they're left out of it. I don't know if it's because every year we come in and say, okay, is this the year that they're going to be good with Mike Trout? I don't know what it is, but the Angels sort of get left out of that combo sometime as like the worst teams in the league. And this is one of the worst teams in baseball. Make no mistake about it. And Griffin Canning's been better of late, but I mean, okay, even if he's good here, I'll take my chances against the Angels bullpen, which right now, the only two bullpens for me personally that I have rated worse than the Angels right now is the Rockies and the Blue Jays. So they're right down near the bottom of the league in sort of relief pitching. So, okay, if Canning's good again, maybe they'll break through against the Angels bullpen. Brandon Pfaadt is very good, and I think his numbers are a little bit misleading. He has a 1.14 whip, which is that's elite as far as starting pitching is concerned. His ERA in the mid-4s is a little bit of a result of, I think Torey Lovullo just kind of gives him a long leash. I think the reason for that is they know that this guy can be like a front-end, like ace-type reliever. At least that's probably his ceiling. So he's often allowed to pitch into the seventh inning. If you go back and look at the length of his starts, he tends to go deep, and he tends to be allowed to figure it out, which is why I think he's given up some runs on occasion this year. But his overall numbers, specifically that whip being very low, is very good. And also I think it suggests that he's going to have more good outings than bad. So I wouldn't worry that he's given up some runs the last couple times out, because collectively his starts have been very, very good. So when I look at all that, I say to myself, Dan, how are the Angels going to win this series? I can't see it. The Angels are not going to the desert and ruining this sort of run that the Diamondbacks have been able to be on over the last couple weeks. I think because of that, this is a big spot for them to take this series at home, coming off the loss last night, and I think they do it. So Diamondbacks money line is going to be my best bet for the show. Didn't want to give out a minus 190 client play, so it's not going to hit my client card. But if you can find a way to maybe parlay something into it, maybe the Twins, I don't know. That's my favorite thing today. So I think the D-backs get it done.
D-backs taking down the Angels. That's the best bet from a man, Adam Trigger. Grab that KBO play for just $5. It's apropos that with these two gentlemen joining me live, we get some KBO plug and love there. The first true love was us three doing the KBO show together. Never forget it. Always in our hearts. We got one more question for you here, and I want to get your thoughts on it, TB, since you are my pitcher prop guy that I go to all the time. Lone Star checking in over on the YouTube feed. Any thoughts on Crochet? Outs prop over. It's sitting at 17 and a half, 105-ish. Price isn't bad. He's gone 6 innings in 4 straight starts, TB. He's gone 6 innings in, 6 out of his last 7 starts. Last time he went 5, it was against Washington. What's your thoughts on that? That number seems a little low there. Any thoughts here? It's White Sox. They're going to be opposing the Mariners. So can he get through that lineup a couple times?
He probably can. And another thing I like to look at when I look at these outs recorded is are the pitchers consistently going in the upper 90s to 100 pitches? And in his last 2 starts, he's gone 91, 103. Before that, he went 91, 85, 97, 88. So it seems like he's getting a longer leash as he goes through this season. So when I looked at his outs recorded prop, I saw 18, so I laid off it. But if it's 17, I might go back and take a second look. Yeah, my outs recorded prop has been good. I'm the number 1 MLB capper in 2024. I'm plus 115 units in the season right now. So the outs recorded props is a big reason why that's happening. And in a big sample size, if my numbers project the pitcher to go over 17 and a half, the over 17 and a half has been winning at about 65%. So I'll go back and look at this because I thought his number was 18 and a half, and 18 and a half is a number I like to stay away from. 18 and a half means he's going to get an out in the 7th inning, and it's pretty rare in today's MLB. Only a few pitchers consistently do that. Like Wheeler's one of those guys. But Crochet, the Mariners are not really hitting that well. It's a pretty weak lineup. I mean, they have some studs like Rodriguez in that, but recently the Seattle Mariners seem to be in a bit of a funk. So yeah, he should be able to finish 6 innings in this game. I think that would be a good bet, and I might go back and revisit it. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. And I'm seeing 17.5 over 120. I just pulled that up on the green book. So there are 17.5s out there if you want to go and find that. A note in that game, though, thanks to Joe Ranieri pointing out that we do have a scratch off in that one. No Castillo for
Hancock.
the Mariners.
Yeah,
it's going to be Hancock instead. Yeah, so that
Yes.
was a good
Herbie
flag
Hancock.
there. Yeah, not John Hancock. It's Herbie Hancock, and he's going to be on the mound there this evening. So, hey, a great breakdown there. Big-time questions. We appreciate all of you here chiming in. DT plus the points. Paco Healy late to join, but hey, you can always watch us on the rewatch. Ace Rothstein, of course, our favorite guy, Lord Farquaad as well. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Yeah, it's the best.
Love
this is why you have to come on live, TB, because you miss out on the names in the chat. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. And if you are subscribed and you haven't hit that bell, make sure you do so as well. You'll never miss when we go live and are posting videos around the clock in all the sports. You need your Euro soccer, you need your Copa America soccer, all of that's coming your way. And as long as the NHL playoffs and NBA playoffs are still going on, those finals, if we don't have any 4-0 sweeps, we got you covered in that as well. And we'll get you covered with baseball all summer long. Big thanks to Adam Trigger. Big thanks to Tokyo Brandon getting up in the middle of the night. Have to appreciate him for that to get you some winners. And, of course, thank you to the viewers for making us a part of your day. We will be back locked and loaded with you tomorrow. Steve Merrill going to be in for me, so I'll see you next Monday. But we'll be back locked and loaded, getting you the info that you know and love here on WagerTalk TV. If you're watching us on the rewatch, click the video on your screen right now. Check out the links in the description below to keep getting all that info you need to cash on all the sports you love. We'll see you next time right here on WagerTalk TV.